What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining us over here at Review Zero Minus. My name is Race, and I guess today we're going to be talking about a few of the ins and outs and behind-the-scene type stuff for Evil Dead 2. I know that we covered a lot in the video, but these are going to be kind of just freeform, whatever, just me talking to you guys. Just hanging out and whatever. So, there's no real anything. I mean, heck, we got the dogs walking around. We got, a couple of beverages here, and it's just you and I. So, again, from the bottom of our hearts over here at Review Zero, we'd like to say thank you for coming and watching us, liking, subscribing, all that kind of cool stuff. All the comments, good, bad, and different. Super cool to hear you guys, sounding off. It's pretty cool. Now, without you guys, obviously, we wouldn't be doing any of this. So, from the bottom of my heart, and I guess the bottom of my chair and the back of my head are freaking kind of split open right now. So, thanks anyway. Okay, so Evil Dead 2. I mean, obviously we ran through all of the normal rigmarole of who did what and yada yada, and I'm sure that you guys caught a few different flubs in the video of whatever, and hey. Mistakes are made. Whatever. And I'm sure that there's plenty of you out there that are way more adept in the trivia section than I am. I mean, I try to do my damnedest. However, with being on this planet for 40 years or whatever, there's a few different little minutiae or whatever that get lost in the translation, and that's okay. So I guess since we're doing extras, behind the scenes, just kind of whatever stuff, the behind the scenes doesn't typically pertain to Evil Dead or anything else. It's just kind of, in this case, my thought process, since I was the host for that video, of just what I wanted to do with things. And what I really wanted to do was just give a hey, a hi, and a big, rip of the chainsaw to one of my favorite flicks. Evil Dead 2 was what made me fall in love with the series. It was not the first Evil Dead anything that I ever saw. I didn't see the original first. I didn't see the student film first. I didn't see any of that. I actually saw Army of Darkness for the first time. I saw it at the drive-in here and at the hometown here in Phoenix. Saw it actually at the Scottsdale West Wind Drive-In. It's no longer there anymore. So it was, I'm not sure if I can show this on whatever, but, I'm drinking something out of a green bottle. Let's just say it's ginger beer, okay? We're mostly adults here, so figure it out. So I saw it at the West Wind, and it was really cool. So, when it came out, I was a horror fan, I was an action fan, I was a sci-fi kid, all that kind of stuff. But Evil Dead had not really been on my radar at that point. There was just something about it that I had seen it when I was crawling through the video stores, and I remember seeing the Dead by Dawn VHS cover, the all black one with just the skull coming in from the side with the human eyeball, and I thought that was really cool. But it was always, I'll get to it later, because there was more stuff I was interested in seeing. I mean, with some great VHS covers like Puppet Master and Hellraiser, and heck, even the later Friday the 13th ones where it was just like hockey mask, hockey mask, hockey mask. And then, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street with all the great artwork that was done on those. They were a little bit more gripping. They got my attention a lot quicker. I actually saw most of the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff or at least the earlier stuff, like all the way up until I think it was the the Dream Master, so number 4 after the Dream Warriors. I think that was the most recent one that had come out when I was starting to jump into my foray into horror alone, because during the 80s and 90s there was not there wasn't a whole lot of great parental supervision as far as the types of media that we were consuming at the time, and that was okay, because I think that it led to a lot more creative people doing a lot more creative things, because the fear or the anxiety that can be attributed to most horror movies or supernatural or just like spooky stuff in general, it really becomes demystified at that young of an age, because you can understand that it's make believe, it is pretend, and it's really fun. And it isn't until a little bit later where you get into more of like the Dario Argento stuff and the real gory, crazy stuff like Cannibal Holocaust, or even just some real gripping and jarring stuff like Suspiria, or even like Black Christmas. The real silly stuff and the real boogeymen that were in pop culture, like Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers and Chucky and all that, it's demystified when you watch it from a younger age. At least that's my thought on things. It's my experience, at least. I'm not telling anybody to go ahead and show your under 10-year-old kids anything crazy like that. But hey, kids are gonna kids and parents are gonna parent. So do whatever you're gonna do. But like I was saying, I didn't see Evil Dead 2 for my first one. I saw Army of Darkness at the drive-in, and it was so much fun. It was myself, my 2 older cousins, my dad, and a few other people, and we all went as a group. We didn't go in like one big family vehicle. We actually brought like 2 or 3 different vehicles, because I think there was like 10 or 12 different folk that wanted to go and see it. So went ahead, went up, and before it was tuning the radio, there were these big boxes. They were these big boxes, about like 2 of these wide, and about one of them, like they was the size of like a small like desktop speaker, and you'd hang them on the side of your vehicle, and they were attached to these almost like roping poles that like you'd like hitch your, like a hitching post. They almost look like hitching posts, because they kind of were, actually. And it was a blast, just listening to this pithy dialogue and this real adventurous kind of like Dungeons and Dragons orchestral thing going on, and watching this goofball ham it up and screw everything up. It was so fun. And of course there was the dialogue that made Ash like the ultimate cool guy in like that time, in like that summer or whatever. You're good, Ash, and I'm bad, Ash, and you're a good little 2 shoes, and just all that kind of stuff. Then he just racks him with the shotgun, and get good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun. I mean, that is so up my alley. It's not even funny. I mean, I grew up with all the different, one-liners from Schwarzenegger flicks and Rambo and all that kind of stuff, which is actually really funny. When you kind of compare something like Evil Dead and Army of Darkness to, kind of 80s style action heroes, because I would definitely put Ash Williams in Army of Darkness anyway. And even some of the stuff in the Evil Dead television show, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, that he is way more of an action hero than he is a horror figure, final girl / final guy, whatever. Because I mean, that's really the only time that we see him as this super vulnerable person is during the first Evil Dead, where he's left all alone. Everybody's been dispatched. It's a real bummer for him. And then of course you get the last scene where it comes in and he screams, and the movie's over. And then the next one starts, and he's basically terrorized for the first, 45 minutes of the movie until he gets terrorized by, Bobby Joe and Jake and the rest of the cast come in and just give him a freaking headache. Meanwhile, there's a nightmare zombie in the freaking cellar. He chopped up his girlfriend with a chainsaw. I mean, just all this crazy, nasty stuff. And then there's this tonal shift where it's time to suit up, and you got the strap noises and the ratcheting of of his hand inside of the chainsaw. Which again, it was such a cool gimmick, and it was such a cool gag to see that as this weapon. Because when you look at a lot of what happens with horror stuff, every horror villain has their own iconic weapon. I mean, Michael has his butcher knives, Freddy his glove, and Jason, of course, his machete. Heck, even Chucky, he's Mr. Switchblade. He's Mr. Pocket Knife. I mean, heck, I even think it's Child's Play 2, or oh, hey, my buddy's working on a film right now and filming with one of the chicks from Terrifier. Huh. Get on it, man. Right on. If any of you out there used to follow either Hack the Movies or Cinemassacre or anything from, I guess, the older Screenwave catalog, one of their writers, editors, whatnot, Newt Wallen, funny guy, really good script writer. He's just the schlockiest little dude in the world, and just a great guy. So if you guys have some time, check out some older reviews with him on some of the other channels, and be sure to make sure that you check out his whole thing going on. It's Schlock and Awe Films. He's got his own YouTube channel over here. We work together from time to time. Just good stuff. But like I was saying, everybody has kind of their own branding. I mean, something as simple as, like, the Star Wars stuff with the lightsabers and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you see, you see Luke Skywalker over there, this young punk kid from freaking nowhere running around with a laser sword, and all of a sudden you're like, he's a hero now. And it's so funny to see the iconography of what can happen when you introduce a character that maybe they don't have the best cool factor, but there's something cool about them. And Ash is no exception to that. I mean, I don't know about a lot of you, but if I were in that specific position, I'd be pretty tweaked only having, kind of funky shotgun, which in the first movie wasn't a double barrel shotgun. It was just a single shot. Some old, I don't even think it was a Remington in the first one. I think it was a Winchester or something. It was it maybe, I mean, it could have been a Stoeger. It could have been a lot of things. To me, it looked like a coach gun, but yeah. We're from Arizona out here, so weapons are kind of our religion. Yeah, all right. Whatever. It's a Star Wars reference. Bite me. So stupid. But then you got into the second one, and he's got his boomstick, which, depending on the scene, he's either got a pocket full of shells, or he's got a pocket with just his dick in his hand. It's kind of funny. But that whole suit up scene, going back to what I was saying, I know I'm going on a tangent, but again, this is free behind the scenes nonsense, and you're watching it, so what are you doing anyway? We're just hanging out. So that whole suit up scene of him getting ready and doing that, the chainsaw was purely a defense weapon all the way up until this point. I mean, he's using it to chop up the Linda Kermit the Frog armature that's beating the hell out of him, and all that kind of stuff. Which, going back and looking at that scene with all of that gore and black goo coming out and just railing him, his mouth was open. Okay, his mouth was open. I mean, Caro syrup is okay, and that's what they use for a lot of this stuff. I mean, this guy was having to be like scraped and shoveled and peeled off of the set most of the time because of how sticky that stuff is. I mean, I like I like a good pecan pie as much as the next person, but God, oh, the amount of dye and the amount of just sick, sticky, sweet, ugh, God, ugh, Muppet blood. Hey, you know what? That's actually not a bad idea. Um, just right off screen, we've got a little bar set up here in the studio. Well, I mean, heck, if you guys want to see it, I don't care. Here, you'll have to excuse me. And there we go. So we've got the little bar set up there. So maybe that would be kind of a maybe that'd be kind of a cool thing. make a Muppet blood shot. The Evil Dead shot. I'm sure that there's one. I'm sure that if you guys go and check out, websites like Retro Drink, or was it Retro Drink? Am I just making that up? If I am, dibs on the name. But if not, there's something like there. There was one website that somebody that I used to know a long time ago started off with. It was a Final Fantasy reference of the drunken Moogle, something like that. There was a bunch of different shots and drinks and things like that that a few of us around here contributed to. That was kind of cool. Just email submissions or whatever. So yeah, maybe an Evil Dead shot or a Muppet shot, the Muppet blood. So I know it's been like 5 minutes since I went on a stupid tangent about weapons and iconography and all that kind of stupid stuff, but it really was so awesome and so pivotal watching this dude wielding a chainsaw as a defense weapon and this kind of crappy shotgun that he found in this dilapidated cabin, and turning them into these really big iconic weapons for him and the character and the series in general. And I mean, we've seen it parodied in Billy and Mandy, where there's that one character who's basically Snake Plissken and Ash together. I don't remember the guy's name. I never really watched the cartoon. An old girlfriend of mine was really into it because the music was done by some gothic metal dude, Voltaire, and no, not the not the classical composer. No, it's some other goth rocker or whatever. But yeah, the dude had a chainsaw for a hand, and he had all these different kind of blasters, and it was really cool to see it, because in that suit up scene in Evil Dead 2, where he wrenches the thing onto his hand and he makes the harness and the rig where he can open it up, and then modifying the shotgun into the boomstick. I mean, it went from being a double barrel shotgun to the boomstick, and specifically watching that scene at the drive-in for Army of Darkness, Chosen One, take this, and he, the old wizard throws the chainsaw and he does the big jump, and it freezes, blam, opens it up and starts just going to town on whatever that bog monster was, whatever deadite was in the actual pit, and then he crawls out of the pit. And he's got his chainsaw and his boomstick now and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, I don't have to recite it for you. I'm sure that all of you know it by heart at this point. All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. This is my boomstick. It's a twin barrel. It's a, and he says something stupid. It's a twin double barrel Remington, which is redundant. Cobalt blue steel, walnut stock, and a hair trigger. Which, for any of you out there, having a hair trigger on a double barrel like that, you don't want that. seeing retails for about $109.95. You can find it in the sporting goods section. Shop smart, shop S smart. You got that? Now, if any one of you primates, it's either primates or primitives, even touches me, and he freaks out and he shoots the other thing that came out, and the person does a backflip into it, and it was pretty cool. But you got to see him as the hero, and that's why watching the movie, I was like, dude, this is gonna be great. He's gonna roll around and you know kick ass and kill monsters with this chainsaw hand and the shotgun and da da da. And obviously, for the ease of the actor, they made it. They're like, here, Bruce, we're gonna let you have a hand. So they just gave him like the mechanical glove thing, and they tried to recreate the scene with the same smash cuts and the quick movements and the lack of sound and just the lack of background track. It was just the noise to where it was just another suit up thing. And he crushes the cup and groovy, and he does it again. But it feels. They've done it a few different times in the series that felt a lot more earnest. It felt a lot more. It felt a lot more earned. It felt a lot more genuine. This kind of seemed like everybody that was there for the previous films was so stoked about doing this really big budget version and this really epic version that they were trying to revisit different tropes and kind of revisit their past, their youth, their glory, whatever, like kind of chasing it. But you know what they say: you can't go back home. You can never go back. I don't know who said that. Could have been Kurt Vonnegut. Could have been Christina Ricci from Now and Then. It could have been Stimson J. Cat from Ren and Stimpy. I don't know. It all kind of mixes together up here. So, I mean, just watching that whole thing in the drive-in theater, that gave me the pull to go back and visit of course, the original, the original movie and the second movie. And the original, I love it. I learned to love it over time, and I really learned to appreciate the filmmaking aspect of it, the punk rock, approach to everything. Because again, that's my whole thing with any of these movies, and I think that's why a lot of us are so drawn to these types of films, specifically horror. Because I mean, they're low budget, they're punk rock, they're a bunch of younger folks, or a bunch of kids that are going out there, or just inventive and creative and artistic people going out there and doing something that they love and that they're interested in, and they're trying to create something new, or they're trying to scratch an itch that is just living inside of them somewhere. And I think that's a wonderful thing. If given the opportunity to make my own film or do my own series, or God forbid work with some incredibly talented people that I've met, I've run in with, I mean, that would be incredible. But that's the dream for anybody creative. Whether you want to write a song, write a book, become an animator, do voice acting. I mean, do voices, anything. There's not a whole lot of time, so you should really, really focus on doing things that you love. And I think that a lot of us have a tendency of missing those opportunities because I think we're nervous. I think that there are certain expectations that we either don't allow ourselves to get over or conquer. Like the expectation of success or failure is crippling to most people. But hey, if you can get out of bed and you can slog through a retail job or a clerical job or an admin job, or just something that, heck, I don't know. I mean, I've met plenty of doctors and plenty of lawyers and plenty of other, quote unquote successful people that have no spark. They've got no flavor in their food for what they do. And I've seen some pretty down on their luck, broke folks doing incredible artwork in comics or music or whatever. I mean, they're living, gig to gig, and you couldn't pry them away from that if you shoved a chainsaw or a shotgun into their face. And I think it's pretty amazing. But, I don't know. I guess that's just me. So I don't really know what, if anything, I'm going to be doing with this for my sections at least. I know that the majority of the time you guys are just seeing me as the host, but trust me, it gets a lot better. There's a few different people that are going to be hosting, co-hosting, whatever, that are that are way better at it than I am, way better looking, and a lot less grating on the ears. So I'm just happy enough that you guys stick around for however long you do, listening to me prattle on about my nonsense and my views on things. So yeah, I guess that's really it. So I guess for behind the scenes or extras, I guess the behind the scenes really pertains to this behind the scenes, and the extras, I guess, is a bunch of me commiserating about things in a very extra way. I don't know. There's a joke in there somewhere. I'm just not finding it. So that's about it. If you've got anything to add or whatever, or even some ideas or some topics, I'd love to go ahead and revisit this. We're eventually going to get up and be doing live breakdowns and this and that and the other. So sound off in the comments for interesting stuff for us to talk about or review. Because again, we've got a laundry list of different movies that we're getting through and reviewing and cutting and editing for. But there's always something new that we haven't seen yet. Don't be afraid, and don't think that your tastes or your recommendations are going to be met with anything other than, oh, right on. Well, I mean, we've already got that on the list, but heck yeah, that means that somebody else is looking for it. Again, if you want to see a review of Friday the 13th, trust me, we got it on the list, but that means that you'll watch it. If you want to see Green Inferno or Cannibal Holocaust or Cannibal Ferex or something like that, trust me, those are on the list too, but they're still somewhat underground, I guess. And it's not just horror. All you sci-fi nerds out there, all you anime nerds, all you comedy nerds, I mean, please give me some great stuff. We've got a ton of great comedy stuff that's coming, from Coming to America to Strange Brew, the freaking Police Academy, Blazing Saddles. I mean, yeah. Any Mel Brooks stuff, I'm pretty sure that we're going to get just absolutely decimated, but you can't keep Sheriff Bart down. You just can't. So there's tons of great stuff that we're going to try to accomplish, that we're going to try to put out there for you. So this one's probably going to be the longest one that there's going to be. It's just supposed to be a hangout between you and I and, a couple of, bowls of loudmouth soup. If you're into that kind of thing, if you're under 21 years old in a country that requires you to be, make sure that you're drinking ginger beer like me. And if you're an old person and you want to go ahead and cut loose, well, hell, maybe I'll even do a disclaimer next time and we can have a whiskey together, huh? Thanks for listening to me. My name is Race. This is Review Zero Minus. You guys take care of yourselves.